Well, I'm delighted to welcome into the studio a gentleman that a lot of people were watching with great interest on his heroic journey back to the Isle of Man. I mean, on a note, you said things very succinctly. You summed up for a lot of people what was going on. Any byline to that now to finish it off? Any final chapter you got here?
I'm here. There's still people having problems, Paul, and it's not particularly easy, and there is a bit of a lack of consistency, but we are getting there slowly but surely, in fairness, and the politicians are listening, or some politicians are listening to us, and they are making changes.
Well, I asked you at the time, I said, why don't you do one of my reviews of the month? So looking back in June, I mean, obviously there's so many things going on. Do you want to deal with the COVID situation? Anything on that particularly flags here?
Yeah, there is actually, and this is a bit of a thank you to the COVID people, because as you know, I've been a bit of a critic of the system, and I decided when they asked people to go apply online to take part in the telephone survey about how the COVID affected us.
So you applied to go into it?
Correct, you applied online.
Okay.
And I get a phone call.
Were you surprised?
Was I surprised? Was I? And I got a phone call, would I like to take part in the survey? And I said I'd love to. And it was a young lady called Michelle, who was delightful and helpful and polite. And I have to say, in fairness, I mean, if you're going to criticise, you should be prepared to compliment as well.
Sure.
The survey was excellent. It was first class. It was open questions. I was allowed to give my own personal response and point of view. The questions were very open, very fair, and there was appeared to be a genuine interest from the government public health department as to how it affected us. And I thought the questions were about repatriation, they were about the 14-day self-isolation, about the borders being closed, about how opening up and all that sort of thing.
So, do we know what's going to happen to that information?
Well, they tell me they told me there was 200 people that had applied. They'd approached, I think it was 90 people to do the survey, and then they were all going to collate that information, and that would help towards their policy of moving forward, or if, which is probably going to happen at some stage, the virus is going to come back in one shape or form. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a very responsible thing. But I have to laugh. Right at the end, one of the questions was, how did I feel that now the island was back to normal? Now, bear in mind, this was last week.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you mean by back to normal that you can't see a dentist, you can't see a doctor, and you bank with certain banks without names mentioned, things aren't back to normal. But generally speaking, first class, nothing but credit.
I know you were saying before we started, doctors and dentists have been on your list, and things haven't been quite right, but they're getting there, right? Now?
Well, I was unlucky. I went to see my dentist on Monday morning of this week, and what a palaver that was.
Were you all in the PPE?
No, I wasn't, but the doctor, all I was having was a quick examination. I wasn't having treatment, but they were all, I had to stand outside, I had my temperature taken, I was out in the rain, and you can imagine it was all, but they were lovely, the dentists, but you can't blame them.
No.
And then Monday afternoon, the Chief Minister stands up and said, okay, dentists are going back to normal. I thought, why didn't I make an appointment for Tuesday morning?
What about the doctor? How's that now? Is that back to normal?
No, my surgery isn't. I rang up the doctor yesterday. I was allowed to go in if it was desperate, but I had to do mine over the phone.
Right.
So
there's still a few things yet.
I think so, but in fairness, we're getting there.
Right, DOI is one of your things on your list.
Well,
a new minister.
Actually,
don't give him too much hassle. He's only been there 2 weeks.
No, I know. And in fairness to the man, I think you should have a man of the month.
Oh.
Because the man for the month for June was definitely Tim Baker. And we were having a coffee this morning with some friends of ours, and we said, can you imagine a conversation where Tim Baker gets a phone call from the Chief Minister, say, listen, Tim, unfortunately I've had to sack a minister, so there's a vacancy on the camp, would you like to join it? Oh, I'd love to, Chief Minister, policy and reform, perfect. Well, actually, Tim, no, we're going to make a DOI. And he's on the phone. But
that was a baptism of fire. Well, he's been a member anyway. Then,
well, yeah, I know. But in fairness, you think. But then you think, well, things can't get any worse, can they? At the DOI, how can things possibly get worse in the DOI?
You're so mischievous, Geoff.
Until Monday,
the
performance happens, and then the poor man. I've got to give the man credit. He then has to stand up in front of the press, yourself, MHKs, and justify an action which maybe he either knew nothing about or had no input in. So he's my man of the month. I've got to give the man total credit for that.
that's a backhanded compliment there.
Well, no, he got his money. He's earned his money.
Okay. What else have you been thinking of?
The other interesting thing was David Cretney's now retired.
Oh, from the Labour Party?
Yes.
He stood down as an
MLC, but he's gone from the Labour Party. And remember, he was the Minister of Fun, if you remember those years ago.
You're going back a bit.
I am, sadly.
No, but there was great times when there was different way, wasn't it? There's money to be spent on things as well, wasn't there?
There was, and he was a character, David. Whether you agreed or disagreed with his politics, he was. You can't fault the man for his commitment to the island and to the people and to his constituents. But of course, now we've got a young, vibrant lady, Joni, who's now in charge.
Yes,
and that's going to be interesting because she actually wears 3 hats now. She's just a hard-working young girl. She does cruise. She's on the climate change coalition, and now she's in the Labour Party. So, David, a loss that David's gone in politics.
Well, give or take a bit, only a year or so now to go.
Elections pretty soon.
Any ideas of yourself wanting to get into politics?
No. I'll be honest with you. I have been asked.
Of course you have. I bet you have.
I'm 69, Paul. I know. I know.
Thank you. He's doing very well.
I'm 69. I have a lifestyle which my wife and I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy the Isle of Man in the summer, but in the winter with my arthritis and everything like that, I need to get away from the cold, damp weather. And we go down to Portugal.
And you fell over the other day.
And I tripped again yesterday. It's an age thing. So no, I would. If I was 10 years younger, I probably would, but not at the moment. But good luck to her anyway. I wish the girl well. Am I allowed to call her a girl?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure these days.
I'm 69, but anyway, good luck to the lady.
What do you think to the future of, like air links here and all just getting back to the old normal lifestyle?
I think we're getting there. I have to give I've criticised the Chief Minister in the past.
Have you? When you try to get back, yeah.
Well, get it back. But in fairness, I think the thing about the Aurigny Air is a good idea. He's now talking about allowing us who can leave the island and can come back and self-isolate. I think that's going to come pretty soon, which, in fairness, so no, I think as far as that's concerned, I've got no issue with that. I think he's doing a good job.
What do you think of those press conferences now? I mean, have they had their day now? Do you think twice a week?
I think so. I don't know if anybody's listening to them so much these days anymore. I think people. Look, the only issue I've got, and I've mentioned this to David Ashford and also to the Public Health Director, we seem to have this atmosphere now that we're all right, it's gone. It's not gone. It's going to come back in some shape or form. And I'd like to see us keep promoting, for example, if you don't have to stand next to somebody, don't. Because and if when you get back home, continue washing your hands, because that's the only way this virus is going to spread. And let's be honest, Paul, it's going to be here up to 10 or 14 days before we know it's here. And I'd like to see us promote that a bit more. I mean, we bring a hosepipe ban in without any problem. So
let's finish with that. The hosepipe ban. As soon as it comes in, it rains. It appears. Although the levels still went down. I went back 2 weeks afterwards, and it was still going down.
I know, but I've got an app on my phone, Paul, called AccuWeather, which tells me what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
And when they brought the hosepipe ban in, let's be honest, since they brought the ban in, it's a commentator's curse, isn't it?
Yes.
It's rained, and we've had the biggest thunderstorm in 6 years.
Yes.
So. But get an AccuWeather app on your phone. So you can
the trouble is, these things come in, and it's normally a long time before the dam's overflowing all this before they'll rescind it, won't they? Because it had gone down. It had gone down 2 weeks afterwards.
No, I've got no issue with it, but it just seems. I wish they wouldn't do it, because whenever they say they're going to do it, it rains. The weather changes, and we went from 20-odd degrees sunshine to lashing it down with rain.
As always, Geoff, thank you. I know we could be here for hours. There's so many things we do every now and again. See in the coffee shop, and we just talk. Well, you meet a lot of people. You get a lot of feedback.
A lot of feedback from.
Do you think we're in a good place? I mean,
I think personally, apart from certain people who are still having problems getting home and are still dealing with the issues they had, both financial and.
Can you believe that people still can't get back here?
Well,
and the numbers they weren't very sure about.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. He's 30th of July. He's been given a date.
Right, because at one stage, the Chief did say it was all those 50 people. Then it seemed to get more people. Then I still hear from people that seem to be stuck in New Zealand and things like that.
Well, there's somebody in Spain who's been trying to get back, and they can get flights to the UK, but they've been given a date by the 30th of July. So for as far as most of us are concerned, things are back to normal. But it's worth remembering that there are still people out there where things are not back to normal.
And you always know when things aren't quite right, because obviously you've got Timor Day coming up and people have their grievances, and they're allowed, although this year they're not actually going up to hand them in.
I am surprised at that, because
I think it's strange now that things have gone back, because we weren't allowed. We were told definitely not to turn up. And I said, well, I could be there as a member of the public, because they couldn't stop people.
I'm surprised there's still the mixed message that's coming out.
Yeah, it should be.
Which surprises me. We've either got personal freedom or we haven't. And I think as long as they keep pumping out this message, if you want to go to Tynwald, go to Tynwald, but if you don't have to stand next to somebody, don't, and wash your hands. And I think if everybody did that, this virus could stay away for a long, long time without affecting everybody. But I'm not a public health official. I'm just, as my captain says, I'm just a grumpy old man, Paul.